Good morning. Welcome to Business Lab with Dean. We are here with Dave Weill of Steak and Shake, and we are talking elevators this morning.
Yes.
Not really. Dave, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic.
Thanks for being here. So first question right out of the gate. What do you do?
What do? I am the CEO of Steak and Shake, and that stands for Chief Everything Officer. I do it all. I'm the marketing director. I'm the sales. I'm the maintenance guy. I do it all.
I can appreciate that. So which Steak and Shake are you the CEO of?
Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
I love it. And there's only one here?
That's correct. Except there's one on campus, but I don't count that one.
Okay, that one doesn't count. At least for your purposes.
Yes.
Okay. So how did you get into running a Steak and Shake? And I realize this could be a very long answer, and just feel free to run with it.
How did I?
Go back as far as you want.
My kids had this bad habit called eating. I needed to make some money. So I moved to Memphis to go to seminary, wanted to be in full-time ministry, and now I own a Steak and Shake. This was not my plan. And so I moved up to Murfreesboro in '05 to work at MTSU with college students with an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ. I did that through 2011. Was working, long story short, I was working at AT&T, and I thought, man, selling cell phones and tablets. And I'm like, man, I just don't want to do this forever. Good job. I did it for about 3.5 years. I wanted to have my own business. So what does any rational person do? I went out and bought a Cajun restaurant.
Oh my goodness.
Jay Gumbo's. Had you ever heard of it?
Here in Murfreesboro?
No.
Where was it?
Antioch. Had you heard of Jay Gumbo's?
No.
That was my problem. Not enough people heard about it. And I made no money for 2.5 years.
Well, a Cajun restaurant in Antioch. I don't know how well that.
The food was
gonna
delicious.
fly.
It was, nobody could find it. It wasn't the best location.
There was a Cajun restaurant in Smyrna that was really good. What was it called?
I don't know.
Jazz's or Raz's or something. The chef there was featured on Food Network, Best Thing I Ever Ate. This was a while ago. This was 10, 15 years ago. But it's not here anymore.
No, neither is Jay Gumbo's.
Well, that's a shame. I'm sure the food was amazing.
The food was delicious.
Was it your recipes?
No, this is a small franchise. So
okay.
Anyway, I made no money, so I'm about broke, Dean. And kids were hungry. I had to do something, and interviewed a lot. Actually, I didn't interview. I tried to interview at Chick-fil-A, Demas's, O'Charlie's, Toots. Nothing. I'm about to just take any job because I had to do something.
Sure.
Very humbling. And I'm at a soccer banquet, 2019.
Okay.
And I randomly meet this guy, and he says, "You heard of Steak and Shake?" I'm like, "Yeah, I never go. I've been twice in 14 years. I mean, it's just kind of dirty." And so I just didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
He said they had this program. You could buy one for 10 grand.
Really?
But the catch is,
I was going to say, what's the catch?
You have to work for free until you fix it. And I'm like, I'm not getting paid any money now anyway. What's a few more months? So all you had to do was hit 4 metrics: food cost, turnover, labor, and complaints. I'm like, no problem. 8 months later, it was the hardest thing I ever did. And so I sold my truck, gave Steak and Shake the 10 grand, and I was off to the races. And hardest thing I've ever done. 8 months later, I become the franchise owner. My first official day as owner was March 25th, 2020.
Stop.
The day after the dining room closes to COVID. I'm the franchise owner.
Congratulations. You won the prize.
Amen. Yes. And so that's a long story short, how I got into it. And so, yes.
Wow. Okay. So
it was an adventure.
So Steak and Shake. So did you always want to be a pastor? Is that what you wanted to do when you grew up? Air quotes, grow up.
No, had no desire whatsoever.
Okay.
I got involved in an organization called Campus Crusade for Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to be involved in ministry. So doing Bible studies, loving on college students.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's cool.
Yeah. So I did that from joint staff in '03 through 2011.
Sure. So for those who might not know or can't use their contextual clues from the name. Uh, what do you sell at Steak and Shake?
A good time.
A good time. I
So
like it. So
burger,
you're
shakes, and fries.
okay. So
We
that's what you sell. But what do you started to answer the real question, which is what do you really sell?
Well, I was going to say when I first got to Steak and Shake, we used to have salads, but we got rid of them.
Good.
Not enough calories. And so I'll go ahead and say we had chicken tenders. People are very upset. They are off the menu
Mhm.
temporarily. We're looking for another supplier, so they are coming back. So don't give up hope.
Okay. So hamburgers, shakes, fries, and
Steak franks.
potentially in the future,
Yeah.
chicken tenders.
Yes.
Okay. So w- why do most people go to Steak and Shake? Is it because they're hungry?
The food's just freaking delicious.
Right.
And so I've been Steak and Shake since I started July 2019. And people don't know this, but you can have a different burger every day of the week. I mean, dude, we got the garlic burger.
Mhm.
Man, it's delicious. The butter burger, ounce of butter on it, just melted. Ah, amazing. The Frisco burger, barbecue burger, the double cheese bacon burger. You can have a different burger every day of the week.
That's amazing.
And I say this, I say, unfortunately, I'm not tired of any of them. Usually you get sick of your own food after a while, but
Yeah.
yeah, I still enjoy them too much.
So there's something about going out to eat that is fun,
Yes.
I think. And so that's why I've got you on this season of the podcast, is because this season is fun. We're talking about businesses that are fun. So how do you stay in how do you stay focused on what you're really providing people, which is the experience, just eat some good food, have a relaxed time with your family. How do you stay focused on that as opposed to, oh, this French fry's too crispy? Or like how do you kind of keep your mental frame in that?
So I used to be in the army, and now I was a cook in the army, and people are surprised to find out, but I hate cooking.
That's
So
exactly what you want to hear from the CEO of Steak and Shake.
yes, but I've got other people for that. So what I do, what separates me, I think, from probably everybody else is I love to, well, one, be involved in the community, but I think I'm kind of an entertainer at heart. So when you and your family come in, you'll find me going around doing magic tricks and just seeing the joy on the kids' faces and the look on their face. And then the parents are just as happy when they see their kids just having a great time.
Right.
I love just doing, I walk around doing magic tricks and I enjoy that more than anything else. It's more rewarding actually than getting paid.
Right.
However, my wife still wants us to get paid, but
Getting paid is
that
important.
is, to me, I have an absolute blast getting to just talk to the kids and actually a lot of times I'm doing a trick and then I'll see some adults at another table. They're just kind of craning their neck looking. I'm like, hey, I'll be right over there in a minute. So I go over and do the tricks for everybody.
That's fun.
So I love it.
That's great. I love that you do that, and I love that you do small things to stay engaged with the customers at the restaurant, because it's just, is Steak and Shake considered fast food or is it fast casual?
Yes.
It's both.
Yeah.
So I think especially for that, I think it would be easy for a lot of owners to get caught up in the metrics of how fast can I get people through? How do we do all of the operational stuff? But you're deliberately staying engaged with the people. And I'll tell a quick story from my perspective about Steak and Shake. We've been in Murfreesboro for over 15 years and have excuse me, allergy season. And we had never been because I heard it was dirty and there was just nothing. It's a little bit farther from my house. And so I met you a couple years ago at a networking event, and I was like, I've never seen anybody involved in the fast food or even really fast casual industry at any networking event ever.
Mhm.
And so I love that you bring that personal touch to marketing, which as somebody who owns a digital marketing company, I always tell people, if you're expecting us to do all of the work for you, you're going to fail. Like
Right.
your primary job as the business owner is to get out in the community and network and get referrals and get your actual face out there in front of real people. And that's how you get business. And so now when it's hamburger time for the Heasley family, we literally drive past, we counted one day, 21 places that serve hamburgers to go to Steak and Shake. And part of it is because like I know you personally,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a huge thing. And so, and also I know that you care about what's happening at the restaurant. You know, it's not like some owner from 500 miles away is just calling it in every day.
Right.
You actually care,
I
and you
do.
spent 8 months grinding to get it working right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge. So there was a question in there. What what how did you come to realize that it was important for you to be out in the community as opposed to just like in the kitchen making sure people get fries right?
I heard a long time ago, and I just know it's important to be working on the business,
Mm-hmm.
not just in it. Now you'll come through there. You'll see me in the drive-through dropping fries. You'll see me on the grill. As I coach my team, it's important that I try and spend a majority of my time doing only the things that I can do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, and I love being involved in the community. I think it was yesterday. It might have been four. It was at least three different organizations contacted me yesterday about donations or how I can be involved in the community.
Really?
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And it's, the more I make, the more I can give and be involved in the community.
Sure.
And then that's just a blast. I love it.
That's
And
funny.
so,
We
literally three just yesterday.
That's cool. So we were Borough Business Lab was one of them last year. We had you bring, or no, the beginning of this year, we had you bring hamburgers and shakes to the after party for Borough Prom.
Mm-hmm.
And this is funny. That day was a blur for me.
Right. It was a blast.
Thank you. I go in the outside freezer like a week ago and I pull open the bottom drawer and there's like 12 Steak and Shake shakes in there from the after party at Borough Prom. I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, I'll replace those for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Can I just swap them out?
Yes, come see me.
Vanilla and strawberry. Strawberry is very good. So let me ask you another question. You said that your dining room opened the day, or that you became the franchise owner the day after the dining room closed for COVID.
Correct. That was March 24th,
How
2020.
how did you navigate that macro disaster that we all went through?
That's people's first reaction. Actually, for me, it was a blessing
Why?
because, again, I say it was the hardest thing I ever did. And I went from 60 plus employees that was cut in half. And I had gone so hard and so long. Literally, my first 67 days there, no exaggeration, 15 to 17 hours a day.
Oh my god.
Because I know I'm not getting paid till I fix it. So it's kind of like you've seen those, maybe in the Olympics or someone's running a marathon and they're just crawling over the finish line.
Mhm.
That was me. I was almost dead. It everything else was put on hold just to cross the finish line, to hit those metrics.
So you feel like you got a little bit of a reprieve?
Oh, yes. And so our sales, we were drive-through only, and so we're still booming, doing a lot of business.
Oh yeah,
and so it was almost like it was a break.
that's awesome.
So
I feel kind of guilty because when COVID lockdowns happened in April of 2020, because I'm an introvert. And so, I mean, I've been building a business or multiple businesses since 2016. And that happened. And I was like, wait, you're telling me like legally I have to stay home and not have face-to-face meetings? Thank you.
right.
I will do that. So for me, it was also a relief. Did corporate tell you that, like, look, we know this is going on. we're giving you a break on like sales numbers and stuff because we know that the dining room's got to be closed and you're on half staff. How did that work? Were they cool about it?
It wasn't really a break. It was more of this is just a reality. Reality is our friend. This is what we were faced with.
Reality is our friend.
So hey, this is what we're dealt with, and so you pivot and you do the best you can. So it was drive through only, trying to make it as fast as possible.
Yeah,
And it's just the way it was.
that's cool.
No need to complain about it. Let's just do the best we can.
I love that attitude. It's funny. My first job was in a restaurant. It was one of those restaurants where you could sit and eat dinner and watch a movie on the big screen at the same time. And I worked in the kitchen. I was a dishwasher. And I remember the guy that ran the kitchen, he looked at me early on and he said, bleach is your friend. And I say that all the time to my boys. They're like, how do I get this clean? Bleach is your friend. Reality is your friend. I love that. That's a great statement.
And it's also about perspective. And I'll share this about my grandfather growing up. You hear people complain about the weather all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my grandfather, he would say, it's better than no weather at all. Because if you're dead if there's no weather.
Exactly.
And not only that, people complain about the rain. Also, all sunshine makes a desert.
It's true.
And I've been in the desert. You don't want to be there.
That's a great segue.
So you never, I'll never complain about the weather. It's like, what's the point? It's
right.
Like, it's all about your perspective.
It's true.
Yeah.
So why were you in the desert? Tell me about that.
Graduated high school, recruiter calls me up. Now our family, we grew up broke.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, broke.
Where?
My mom was a maid in Connecticut.
Okay.
You remember the Sandy Hook shootings?
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to Sandy Hook Elementary School.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I grew up in Connecticut. We were the family. People brought us food.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom eventually became a nurse. And so growing up broke, and I guess that's why I kind of have a generous heart towards those less fortunate and love giving. What was the question?
What were you doing in the desert?
Oh yes. So graduated high school, recruiter calls up. I'm like, I don't want to join the Army. He's like, it'll help pay for college. I'm like, okay. And remember, at this time, there was nothing really going on. I'm happy to serve my country, but it was, okay, I'll serve weekend on the month, weekend out of the month. And I was in a MASH unit. You see MASH on TV?
Mm-hmm.
Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
Yep.
I'm a cook.
Good job.
I even hated cooking then, but I thought, hey, this will be a good skill to have. You got to eat.
Sure.
Anyway, joined the Army, joined the reserves. And after I came back, I said, hey, Mom, you can join too. They got a special boot camp for you old people. I mean, she's a nurse now at this time.
Right.
And if you're in the medical field, the age requirements, you can join when you're older.
Sure.
She was really old. She was 39 at that time. Now, my perspective's changed now since I'm 52.
Yes.
And then Thanksgiving 90, our unit got activated, Desert Storm.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah, I went to the desert.
So
Desert Storm 91.
And you're writing a book about this experience.
Yes. So I talked my mom to joining the Army, and then our unit gets activated. So I'm like, good job, Dave.
What do you mean our unit?
My mother and I were in the same unit.
That's incredible.
My mom's a nurse. I'm a cook. Yeah, it's crazy. And 91, early 91, we went to Desert Storm together.
Oh my goodness.
So I got a book coming out. It's almost finished. It's called Deployed with My Mother.
And
and I have a great picture of me and my mom in Iraq. And it's I'm so thankful for that picture. So
I've seen the picture. It's really cool. So what's the subtitle of the book?
Subtitle, Dean, is Not My Plan. It's kind of been the story of my life.
Not my plan.
Question for you. Have you ever had anything in your life not go according to plan?
Most days.
Most days. Okay. So most people can relate. And that's kind of the story of my life. I've had all these plans they haven't gone quite like I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the subtitle of the book. Not my plan.
I love it. And uh,
COVID wasn't my plan. Owning a steak and shake, not my plan. It's just, yeah.
yeah. So how did you push through the whole COVID thing? Like, what was going through your mind?
I cannot wait till we get to stop wearing these masks.
Yes.
So it was, you just did what you had to do. That was just our reality, and do the best we can through the drive-through and do networking and
Mm-hmm.
meeting people in the community, still getting involved as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so
That's
yeah.
cool. So tell me about Shaker here.
This is Shaker. We have a claw machine, and that's one of the prizes you can win.
I love that
So,
because it's just silly and fun, and
kids love it.
I'll spend some money trying to get Shaker.
Adults have spent a lot of money on the claw machine. So
that's fantastic. And little things like that are important because that's what's going to stick in somebody's mind, especially a kid. Mm-hmm. Kids are going to badger the stink out of their parents trying to go to Steak and Shake to get Shaker.
Oh, and there's a set. You can also get the hamburger and the fries.
Do they have names too?
Yeah, Frenchie and I can't remember the other one.
Oh, see, now I want to know what the hamburger's name is.
I'll let you know. Whenever I can't remember anything, it's Desert Storm Syndrome.
Is that real?
No, that's just my excuse.
You just
tell my wife I forgot.
It's not my fault. So where do you see Steak and Shake going in the future? Like, what are your plans as you kind of get comfortable in the ownership role and you're out of the growth phase? Tell me a little bit about what you want to do.
Well, the phase now is just kind of the repair phase. So had a lot of huge projects. Fixed the parking lot, had it resurfaced, repaved, surfaced, new windows, got the roof fixed, put in a new floor. So there's been a lot of huge projects to get fixed there. And the last big project is getting new furniture. And then it's just being involved in the community even more. One of the neat projects we're doing now, I came up with in the spring, is giving every teacher in Murfreesboro a free milkshake.
That's really cool.
And everyone that, not only the teachers, but all the staff that work there.
Mm-hmm.
So I partner with different businesses, give them a super duper deal. And, it's a win for me, a win for the business. And I go to these schools. And the last school I did was Oakland High School, not Oakland, Siegel High School. Oakland's coming up. And I call the school up and I'm like, hey, I'm Dave, the owner of Steak and Shake, and I'd like to bring everyone there a free milkshake. And then their first reaction is, this is a scam. And so then they figure out that it's not. And I go to the schools, and it's really the teachers absolutely love it.
Yeah.
They're being loved on, cared for, thought of, appreciated for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something fun I get to do.
That's cool.
And it's a blast.
And how does a business get involved in that?
They call me up, and then they just tell me they want to do it. And then I call the school and say, hey, I have a sponsor for your school. And then highly reduced rate, I do the shakes for the business. And then the only thing I ask the school is if they'll send out an email to all their teachers and staff so they know who the shakes are from.
Right.
So that way it's just a win-win-win for everybody.
Yeah, everybody wins because the business gets some PR and gets to do something good for the community. You get your name out there, and the teachers get a free milkshake at surface level, but they also, you're showing your appreciation for them and all of that.
Yeah, and the last one, the business owners came with me, and so they get to be a part of it as well.
Oh, cool.
And they love it. Schools love it. Everybody loves it.
That's fantastic. I do love that. So, what else? Do you have plans for multiple units? How does that work? What do you?
No. One is enough. One, and it's funny. My kids tell me they've told me in the past that I have 4 kids, one wife. I've been married 22 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And my kids say, Dad, you got the slowest drive through in Murfreesboro. I'm like, thanks. So I'm just constantly trying to make it faster
Right.
and better. So,
Okay. So you're working on incremental improvements to the existing business as opposed to
yes.
trying to dominate, I'm going to own every steak and shake in the Southeast.
No, just one.
Okay.
Just one. That's enough.
I like that. I appreciate that because not every business has to scale. Like when people say, how do you scale? Well, what if I don't want to? Like, what if I'm, God forbid, what if I'm happy doing what I'm doing at the level I'm doing it at?
Right. And I haven't figured out how to be in 2 places at once.
Right.
And so it's really about the experiences when people come. And I had a busload of students come. Say a few weeks ago, they came up here to do whitewater rafting, and they came in, and I got like 20 students, young kids, were there at the restaurant, and I'm doing a magic trick. Like I got a picture on later. These 20 kids, they're all there with their phones recording me, and it was just, and they had a blast. And then the next day, of course, they parked there between Chick-fil-A and us. You know, some kids, they go to the different restaurants.
Sure.
The next day, literally, I think every one of them was back at Steak and Shake, and I was performing more tricks.
That's great.
And so it's just that experience. And then I also brought my son. He's a Connect 4 wizard.
So I was going to bring that up. He beat me pretty badly at Connect 4. I felt kind of sad.
You were one of the victims. So
I won once, but then I doubled down, and that he's like a Connect 4 hustler. He's like the first one's easy.
Yeah. So several months ago, one of the ministries we support here is Isaiah House. Fantastic ministry. And I did a fundraiser for him. I was like, hey, people came in. I got on the microphone. I was like, hey, beat the little kid in Connect 4 and you get a free milkshake. And so they paid $1 to play. And he played for 4.5 hours playing Connect 4. We raised, it was like $232 and change. And his record, it was like 48-3.
Yeah.
And so I only gave away 3 milkshakes. So he was, so I do crazy stuff like that. And so when I knew that those kids were coming back from whitewater rafting, the kids had my number and they text me, say, hey, we're almost there. So I've got people text me saying they're coming. So I said, hey, Luke, get the Connect 4. You're going to Steak and Shake. So I brought him down there the next day.
Right.
And threw that challenge down for them. So I'm like, I'm not normal in a lot of ways, Dean. I'm just a little
that's one
out there. And so
that's one of the reasons I like
stuff
you.
Like that. So you never know what you're going to get when you come to Steak and Shake.
That's fantastic.
And I'm constantly trying to improve my or learn new magic tricks.
Learn new magic tricks.
Because the kids are like, I'm like, hey, do you want to see another trick? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, come back tomorrow. And I'll show you another one. And the parents are laughing, So.
Yeah. And that's really cool. So I don't always ask this question, but I feel like with you, I should.
Uh-oh.
What's one question you wish I'd asked, but I did not ask?
I wish you had told me this yesterday. So All right. So repeat that question. Let me ponder this.
What's one question you wish I would have asked, but I did not ask?
What's one of your interview questions?
What's one of my interview questions?
No.
What's one of your
questions you're supposed to ask me?
So when you do an interview with an employee, what's one of you?
Well, they're not an employee yet.
Well, right. This is knowing you. This is going to be good. So yes.
No,
please.
Not really. It's not.
No, I want to know the interview question now. I'm curious.
One of them is, I'll ask a prospective employee. I'll say, "What's your dream job?"
How many say Steak and Shake? Has anyone?
No. But a lot of them, young and old alike, they look at me and they're like, I didn't really ever thought about that.
Are you serious?
Yeah. A lot of them. Some do. But I like to ask that question. It gives me insight into who they are, if they thought about it. What would they really like to do? Because I know people that come work for me, they're probably not going to be there forever.
Right.
Now I have some that have been there, like several that have been there over 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that, and I want the best for my employees where, because I know I want to teach them some skills,
Right.
management, leadership skills, work skills, whatever it might be. So when they leave, they've learned something. They can look back on this experience. And so I asked that question just to learn a little bit about them
Sure.
and know what makes them tick.
That's a great question too, because you can kind of tell whether someone's feeding you baloney or not.
Right.
I like that question. That's a good question.
Thank you. And so you want to ask me my dream job, Dean?
Yeah. What's your dream job?
I'm glad you asked. So I've really enjoyed doing what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also like to add, whenever this book is finished, going and just speaking
Mm-hmm.
on this topic. In the book, it's not just about deploy with my mother, but it also has an element of forgiveness in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And
Where she forgives you for roping her into going into the army.
oh no. No. So getting to speak, go around to different organizations and groups and just speaking
Sure.
about how I got into Steak and Shake, about my experience in the Army, about forgiveness. And so
That's cool.
that's just something I like to do.
So how can people find out more about you or Steak and Shake? How can they connect with you if they want to on social media or whatever?
Well, one of the best ways is just come to Steak and Shake and just ask for me. I have a picture of me and my mom. They're in the lobby when you come in. A lot of people will ask, "Hey, is the owner here?" Because on the side of Steak and Shake it says veteran-owned business.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of people ask, "Hey, is the owner here?" I'll come out and they'll ask me questions about my experience in the Army.
Sure.
So you just come to Steak and Shake and ask me. I'll come out. I love coming out to just talk with the guests.
Okay.
It's a blast. And then you mentioned social media, Instagram.
Okay.
I had to ask my kids. I was like, "How do you do this?" And so I copied from Chick-fil-A because they're amazing. So CFA Murfreesboro. So I'm like, SNS Murfreesboro.
SNS Murfreesboro.
And so go on there, follow me on Instagram, and you'll see Instagram posts of me doing magic tricks on the golf course, in the weight room. So it's probably not your typical Steak and Shake Instagram.
That's okay because you're not
you're
not the typical Steak and Shake owner.
No, I am not. No, I am not.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
Well, Dave, this has been fun. And like you said, if anybody wants to reach out to him, SNS Murfreesboro on the Instagram.
Yeah. Or just call me up. My personal cell number's on my business card. And that's just something else that's probably a lot of owners don't do.
Yeah.
I'm available.
I love it. Well, Dave, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a blast.
Once the book is published, we'll have you back on and you can start your press tour with us.
Hallelujah. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate it.
All right. Are we done, Trent? Almost.